Good. So maybe just for those of you who don't know me, which I expect to be everyone. I'm Laura. I'll be hosting the webinar here today for you. Now, we've given this webinar the title, Elevate Your App's Documentation, Launch Your Own Help Center with Scroll Viewport. And it's basically about our app, Scroll Viewport, but this is not a sales pitch or anything. This is actually an invite to explore the app for your own usage. We'll get into the details here, but for those of you who don't know me, I'm Laura. I'm the product manager for one of our apps called Scroll Viewport. You might have heard it around. I've been at K15T, which is the company that sells Scroll Viewport for roughly 3.5 years now. And I've actually started as a user researcher. So that's maybe a fun fact there. And now moved into product management. Now, if you don't know K15T, it was founded by Tobias and Stefan. You might have seen the faces around. They've actually started K15T 13 years ago now, and with just one single exporter app. And it's still one of our long-standing apps. Most popular app is Scroll PDF Exporter. You might be using it yourself already. Since then, a lot has happened. We've grown into about 60 people now, lots of different roles, and we are headquartered in Stuttgart, Germany. Yep, that's about us. Like most of us, we're headquartered in Stuttgart, but most of the team is remotely. I assume that's quite similar to your own setups in your teams. Now, our mission at K15T, and there's a reason why I'm going into that mission, has been since that one exporter app. We've built many other apps, and the mission really for us has stayed the same. It is to help teams share their knowledge freely, simply, and effectively to better educate and enable their customers. Now, why am I saying this? Well, we believe, probably like you, that the Atlassian products are the perfect base for any team to really make this a reality. But this mission has a lot to do with the topic of the webinar today. We actually believe that creating something like a help center can do a lot to drive that mission forward. Now, what are we covering today? So, as I said, a help center is at the core of that mission. But to help you understand a little bit more about what Scroll Viewport does and why you might want to be looking into it, we'll just maybe start to get on the same page with the question, why a help center in the first place? Because that's the basis of it. Now, once we get that question out of the way, the core question here is, why Scroll Viewport? Scroll Viewport allows you to create a help center, but so do other solutions, even a lot of solutions that are based on Confluence. So we'll dive into some of the reasons to hopefully convince you to try out Scroll Viewport. And then after that, we'll dive into a quick live demo to just show you how quick and easy it is to set up. We'll show you some examples from partners who have used Scroll Viewport successfully to set up a help center. So you get a sense for what you could be doing. And then finally, we'll just give you some helpful first tips to get started with Scroll Viewport, including a promotion code to get a free license. So in case you haven't heard, you can get Scroll Viewport for free. If at any point here you have a question, just write it in the chat as a question, and we'll be answering it either during the demo, during the webinar, or at the end of this. So yeah, so let's get started. So the first question is maybe self-explanatory for some of you, As Atlassian partners, you might already know the importance of documentation very well, especially for new vendors in order to gain traction in the marketplace. You are listed there with your app and your documentation. You probably are already documenting at least internal documentation using Confluence, I imagine. Some of you might be using Confluence also to document the external user-facing documentation. For example, and I've seen some of your help centers, a lot of you, what you do is you create a Confluence space and then you open it up to anonymous access. If you do that already, then you will know that an online help center is a great single source of truth, right? So it's sort of a little bit the opposite of having PDF documents, which get outdated the second you circulate them. So an online help center is always up to date, and it ensures that your content is always available, easily accessible, and always truthful. It also supports your support teams and ensures that they can address your customers' concerns efficiently and also, and this is really important, consistently. So the quality of the answer will not depend on the agent as much as the underlying information that they draw on. So that's the first aspect here. The second side of the story is a help center is a really great self-service hub. So it allows your users to onboard autonomously and to onboard quickly and also reliably on their own. So it saves a lot of internal resources. You don't need a sales team to be so involved in the first steps. And a lot of people just prefer also to onboard anonymously without having to reach out to anyone. It also allows you to communicate the full potential of your products. So if you explore or evaluate new products, you often land on the documentation, and it can give you a little bit of a sense of what other features are out there and dive into that. So a perspective of what could I potentially be doing later on with the product. It also equips your team to then teach that full potential of your product to others, because again, they can draw on your help center as a source of information. Now, I'm sure you all know this. Just an example of a help center is our own help center, which is actually built on K15T, on our Scroll Viewport solution. Now, the solution here, as you can see, gives you a first glimpse of what Scroll Viewport looks like. And it's our self-service hub. So if I go back here, you can see it's all of our products here are represented. So it's one single source of truth. Now, obviously, you might be thinking, I can do this with Confluence. Well, that particularly you couldn't do, but why should I be moving away from Confluence as my help center solution? So that's the next question. Now, we'll give you 9 reasons to do this. And I'll go through this quickly to not bore you, but be hopefully very compelling about why you should be at least looking into this. The first reason I already mentioned, it's free for you. So as a partner, we can provide you with a free license with a promotion code, which we can do at the end of the webinar to install Scroll Viewport and get started today. But there are 8 more reasons. We really believe that it is the best Confluence-based documentation solution out there. Why? Well, let's just maybe start with the first one. The first one is you don't really have to change anything about your current setup if you already author in Confluence, because Viewport builds on Confluence as the content management system and just transforms the view. So you have that great, powerful Confluence editor, the collaborative features that you have from Confluence, and then can leverage that to create a nice looking help center out of it. So that's the first reason. The second reason is it's really ready in minutes, and I'll show you that in the live demo, which will just take a few minutes. And why it's ready in a few minutes, it has a lot to do with our pre-built help center theme. So that help center themes comes out of the box with Scroll Viewport and ensures that you don't need to spend any time coding. So you don't need to do any web development or rely on any external teams or resources. So if you're like me, I come from user research, I don't have a technical background, you can set this up by yourself. You don't need any help from developers. The third reason is the search capabilities. So as you have seen in the GIF before that, Scroll Viewport comes with the navigation out of the box and with the search bar that is on every single page of the Help Center. So your users can search from anywhere, which is great to find answers. But also, and we often see that ourselves, if we look at the numbers, our users often come from Google. So it's really, really important to be ranked really high. So our Help Center ensures that it's as SEO friendly as possible out of the box. So for example, we come with a sitemap right away. You don't have to think about this. The fourth reason is the customizable look and feel. So we ship with a visual theme editor. So even if you don't know how to code, you can still use this and you can brand your Help Center. I'll show you, as I said, some examples from other partners at the end, and that will give you a sense of how customizable that is. But essentially, you can customize the colors, the font, the logo, of course, and you can add a custom domain to really own your online presence. Something you cannot do on Confluence, as a lot of you probably know. The fifth reason is you can extend it with your favorite tools and systems. So the most popular tools that our customers extend with is Google Analytics to just keep track of how many visits are there, what are the top visited pages, what are the search terms that people enter, and so on. But then on the other hand, you can also integrate with support systems. So whether you use Jira Service Management, Zendesk, Intercom, you can embed a widget. So from anywhere in the Help Center, your users can click on that question mark here and create a support ticket without leaving any of your Help Center. The sixth reason is you can do much more than just the Help Center. So the Help Center is a site that you can navigate to, but sometimes you don't want to navigate to a site. You want to give the help right where it's needed within your app. And this is where contextual help comes in. So we provide a widget and you can define what URL you want to call in that widget. So you can then, and this here is a mock-up from our own app and how we implement this, and you can draw that content in. So the great thing is people don't have to leave the context to find help, but also this is updated whenever the site is updated because it just calls the URL as an iframe. So no more need to manage two sites here. The seventh reason has a lot to do with the customization aspect. You can also use custom CSS and JavaScript to customize this even further. So whether it's the font, the positioning of elements, the behavior of elements, or any of the color shadows and so on, you can do that. So no limits here. And then finally, last but not least, you can integrate with our other Scroll apps. So we have other Scroll apps like Scroll Documents, which allow you to version, translate, and conditionalize your content. So if you have apps for data center, you might want to maintain the documentation for different versions of your apps. So you could potentially version your documentation in Confluence with Scroll Documents. And then in the Help Center, you can decide which version you want to show. And then your users can just navigate and select the variant. So here it's Basic, Premium, Enterprise, but for you, it could be Cloud and Data Center. And they can go through those different versions as well. And also through the different languages in the bottom. You will see that in a second, right there. Yep, those were the 8 reasons. Feel free to add your questions already. If you have any, I'm happy to elaborate on any of the aspects. But now, this is obviously the result, what you can expect from it. But now to the question, how do you get there? And that's actually a pretty easy answer. So let's just skip to the live demo here. So let me do this. Okay, so I've noticed a lot of you already have your documentation in Confluence. If you don't, that would be the first step. So you would have to have at least one space with some content in it that can be published. I have a space here already. This is just a dummy product called Clever App. And here I have my content. It's well organized in a space hierarchy. I have my getting started page here, for example. Now, after you install Scroll Viewport, it will appear here under the app section there. And the first thing you need to do is you need to create a site. So a site is just a regular website. So the first thing we need to do here, we just have to give it a name. So I can just say my awesome app. And the URL will follow from that. So let's just say my awesome app. This is the default domain, but you can connect your custom domain later on. That's absolutely no problem. That's it. The theme is already pre-selected for you, and most of you will author in English, so we can just go ahead and create. Right now, there's nothing in the help site. It's just an empty container. Now, this is where I can add the content. We call these content sources, but you can just think about these as Confluence spaces. Only if you have advanced content management needs like versioning or translations would you add a scroll document. But let's just start really simple and add that Confluence space that I showed you. So I can just type in Clever App, that's my space, click next. I can define the segment for the URL, so I can, maybe I want to type it out for better SEO, and then click save. That's it. I have my space added here. I can potentially add more products to this or more spaces, but at the beginning, I can also start with this. Let's click next. The next step is to edit the theme. As I showed you, it's a visual editor. So without going into too much details, this is the dynamic preview here that will load. And here under templates, I can just go through all of the section to say what should be my logo, what should be the background color, and the text color. Very easy. Let's skip this for now. We could skip here. And now we're ready to generate the preview. Now here, what we do is we take the content that you have given us. In this case, only the content that exists in Clever App. So everything else, all of the other spaces that you might be using for drafting your marketing material or even the HR spaces remain untouched. So the app will really only access Clever App. Also, maybe a frequently asked questions. I'll preempt that. Will it take everything from Clever App? Yes, it will. You will have workarounds to avoid, for example, what I have here is internal knowledge page. I don't want that to go live. I can manage that with Confluence permissions. But maybe as a rule of thumb, it's best to have a space where you can potentially take everything to that live site. Now it's generating this preview. I can use that to check if everything is okay. And I can also go live immediately. Let's just go live immediately. That's it. I'm live. That means it's publicly available. I have the option to hide it behind authentication if I want to under settings. I assume most of you will want to have this publicly available. So I can just view the site. It's available under the URL that I have defined, and it's ready to use. So it's not branded here, but I can use the search box. It's done the indexing for me. The navigation is usable, and the basic Confluence macros and editor functionality will work out of the box. So the bullet points, the links, the images, the tables, and so on. So that's it. I don't know how long that was, but we have maybe, was it 5 minutes? So that's how fast you can actually start with it. I'll just wrap up showing you a few other examples from other partners who have already done this. Share that back. So We've done the live demo. This is Easy Agile. So you might know them for their Jira apps. This is their portal page. So this is where you can navigate to their different products. And this is one of their articles here. I've actually forgot, I think this is Intercom that they have integrated with here. Lively Apps is another one, also has a collection of apps that they all show here. This is their content. They integrate with Jira Service Management. You can see they have added a custom domain. This is Code 49. Again, everything is branded differently, right? Lively Apps had an orange theme. This one is more bluish. Code 49 decided to remove the table of contents here, which you can also do. And this is Yazoo. So these are just a few vendors that already use Viewport. There are actually a lot more, and hopefully there are a lot more after the webinar. So how can you get started? And this is the last thing I'll say before I take questions. You can install the app from the marketplace. It's called Scroll Viewport. You can then request a promo code from us. You can write us at help@k15t.com. We'll provide you that promo code. And then you can get started. The same way that I showed you. Set up your first site, see how easy and quick it is. And then hopefully it will replace your current help center solution if everything goes well. That's it. So questions. Maybe I'll just start with the first one. It all came, yeah, Cora, maybe. So Cora asks, if my page has a header image or an emoji in the title, will these also be visible in Viewport? That's a really good idea. So header images and emojis were added by Confluence a while ago. I think that was like a year ago or so. When it was first added, we didn't really see the use case for header images, which is why we didn't implement this. Now, we'd be really curious to know, how would you want to use the header image in the help center? We'd be happy to support that feature. We would like to just understand a little bit the context. So we're happy to evaluate this. So maybe Cora, after this, we can reach out to you and you can elaborate a little bit more, maybe show us a screenshot. And then for emojis in the title, it's not supported yet, but it will be supported soon. Yeah. Cool. Then Bernhard asks, when a Confluence page is modified, will it be automatically published in the app? Good question. It's not going to be automatically published to the app, at least not for the cloud version of our app. So what it will do is it will we have a changelog in Viewport that collects all of the changes that have happened in Confluence. And then you have to manually click update site to bring those changes live. So it's basically a static site. The good thing about this is you can prepare new releases and you don't have to worry about any of the changes being, accidentally synced to the public. So you can do that. The drawback obviously is you have to manually click update site. In the future, we will be adding more features. So on our roadmap are automatic publishing, but also scheduled publishing. So being able to define a schedule for when you want these changes to go live. So short answer, not possible at the moment. Then from some anonymous user, how does this work with the JSM Help Center search? So it does not integrate with the JSM Help Center search. So the JSM Help Centers, I assume here the knowledge base. So that portal also has a search. It only searches, as far as I understand, the spaces that you have connected as a knowledge base. But it searches, so you could potentially have one space that you publish to Viewport and use that space to connect it to JSM. And then the search would surface those hits. However, it would surface the Confluence view of that, not the Viewport view. So in short, it does not integrate with that search. what we do, and maybe I can also show that also, yeah, sorry. What we do is, to exemplify that, we have our help center, which is the first entry point for all of our users to go to. And then from the header, there's a link to our JSM portal. Now, this is in the JSM portal is where people raise support tickets. What we try to do is that customers always have that first viewport as the first entry point. So in other words, they never have a need to search in the JSM portal because they would have come to the portal, to the JSM portal from the help center in the first place. And that's what we would recommend as well, to have that structure. Yeah. And then the next question, the Confluence space has to be set visible for anonymous users. Am I right? No, it does not have to be set to anonymous access. And that's because when you saw that progress bar that we generated the pages, what we do is basically using Confluence API, we get the content from Confluence and we transform it in HTML pages, and then we build that static site. Once that static site is built, your content is deployed to a different infrastructure. It has nothing to do with Confluence anymore. So that means your Confluence space can remain private. We will do the work behind the scenes to get your content. Hope that answered the question. And then, from what I can tell, the last question, are there any plans to integrate automatic redirects for links that point to the previously public Confluence site, which now serves as the content source? I have to think about this, so I'll repeat. If there are plans to integrate automatic redirects for links that point to the previously public Confluence site. I see. Okay. So the scenario is you had a Confluence space that you made available to the public, and this is how you distribute your help content. Now you're moving to Viewport. Is there any way to prevent broken links? I hope I understand that question right. So at the moment, there's no way. There are ways to set up fallback redirects. So redirects to avoid broken links. The problem here is, for this to work, your help center previously would need to have shared that same custom domain that you want to connect to Viewport. So if you're migrating over from a system where you've used a custom domain that you're also connecting to Viewport, then you can avoid broken links. The problem is Confluence does not allow a custom domain, so you'll have an Atlassian domain, and we don't control that Atlassian domain, so we cannot redirect technically that Atlassian domain to some other page. So that's a technical restriction here. But having said that, if you're migrating from a different system and have a custom domain, we can ensure and help you avoid broken links. So if you need help with broken links, we can help. Then another question. Yep. So Benjamin asks, we are having a news section on the theme editor on every subpage. However, we only have one subpage where news are visible. The other pages are empty. As far as I know, I can't hide the news section from one subpage, but only from all, right? This will change very soon. So I know we had been in touch, so you inspired an improvement. So hopefully in a month or so, you'll have the ability to do this. So you can define news section per subpage. And then Bernhard asks, each Confluence page can have links to other pages in the same space. Are these links replaced by the app to the new URLs used? So the linked page accessible within the app? Yes. So Viewport handles links in the sense that if you have a space and there's one page linking to a page in that same space, we will resolve the links correctly. Now, if a page in your space links to a page in another space that is not available in your Viewport site, then no, then it will just open the Confluence link. So if your user doesn't have permission to open the Confluence or to log in, they won't see content. But I'm assuming this refers to links within one space, and that is taken care of in Viewport. Yep. Good. Those were 7 questions that came in, quite a lot of questions. If you have any more questions that come up after this, I imagine some other questions will come up as you install the app and try it out. Feel free to reach out at help@k15t.com, not just for the promo link, for the promo code, but also for any question that comes up. If you have any suggestion, if you are not seeing a feature, if you think you cannot use this because a feature is missing, that would be really, really cool to know. As I said, automatic updates will come in the future, and hopefully that's not a blocking issue. Yeah. Not sure if there's anything else. If not, I would say that's it for today. I hope you left this meeting with some insights, and I hope to see you soon. Also, if you do set up Viewport and create a help center, please share it with us. We'd be more than happy to include it in our list of help centers that we also demo to other customers. So I hope you have a good day, whether this is the start or the beginning of the end of your day, and see you soon. Thank you so much for your time.